She's an easy rider. And Eric Bischoff took the whole crew down to Sturgis. And you heard the bikers rev all their engines during the event. Harlem Heat got a bunch of racial slurs and bigotry hurled at them, and some trash thrown at them after they beat the white team, because the bikers didn't like seeing a team of minorities win a match. They couldn't believe that this happened. And then in the main event, they cheered Hogan wildly, despite the fact that he was a heel, turning a month ago in one of the best heel turns in a while. And then they spray painted NWO on the title after pounding beefcake, which we know Hogan liked to do because he was no easy rider. I'm John Renton with the Retro Review of WCW Hog Wild 1996. Man, these musical intros are really goddamn weird. In Sturgis, South Dakota, the biker rally, the popular biker rally with so many goddamn bikers and a whole bunch of goddamn drunk people and everything. And if you're a Sturgis biker, motor enthusiast, I apologize for that, but I also don't, because it was a visual, pleasing event, I guess, as far as an outdoor venue, but it was a really shit, location, because honestly, the bikers didn't really seem to know what the fuck was going on, in all honesty. This was a fucking misfire of a concept, and the main reason they decided to do it is because Eric Bischoff liked motorcycles, and other people like motorcycles. And Kevin Nash told a story about a bunch of the crew riding motorcycles, I believe, I forget, I think it was Casper, Wyoming, or something like that, and then they rode bikes down to Sturgis and went through a bunch of went through some hailstorms and stuff like that and got pounded, while Nash, Hall, and various others decided to take the normal route and not ride motorcycles down to the goddamn venue during, the crazy summer weather. Summer lovin', having a blast. Summer lovin', this hail is ass. Summer lovin', I don't even know what the hell I'm trying to say anymore. Grease is the word, and I bumbled the word. So let's move on to an event where there ain't no easy riders here, despite what I said in the intro. The pay-per-view is on a Saturday, not a Sunday. So, by the way, they had a bunch of matches they had for a TBS special to lead into it, because since it was on a Saturday, they decided to have a special episode of WCW Saturday Night. Public Enemy beat Rough and Ready, Dick Slater, and Mike Enos, yes, formerly of the Destruction Crew from the AWA, and Bo and Blake, the Beverly Brothers. I forget which one he actually was. And that match was over in 3 minutes and 47 seconds, with Public Enemy getting the victory, no doubt going through about 5 tables, and I'm sure getting a Rockets reaction, because, that's all they could fucking do, really, was go through tables. And we have Conan defeating Chavo Guerrero in a match that went about, a minute longer, and I'm sure the crowd was very receptive to that. I'm sure they weren't. The Nasty Boys beat High Voltage, Robbie Rage, and Kenny Chaos in 3.5 minutes. Must have been a fucking rip snorter. Then Alex Wright beat the late, great Earl Robert Eaton in 30 seconds. And I know that Eaton was not the worker that he was even a decade prior, even a few years prior, because of injuries and stuff like that, but he was still really good and deserved more than losing to Alex fucking Wright. Sorry. Terrible rendition of his theme. Octung, Octung, this is Alex Wright. Somebody's going to gift that, I have a feeling. But also, Eaton deserved more than losing in 30 seconds. They also had the Dungeon of Doom members, the Taskmaster, easy for me to say, Kevin Sullivan, Ming, and the Barbarian, versus Joe Gomez, Jim Powers, and Mark Starr. Seriously? Man, what the fuck? Squire Dave Taylor took on Mr. JL in 2.5 minutes and beat him, and then we had DDP versus Poor Renegade. That was the longest match, by the way. DDP beat him Renegade in about 7 minutes. Poor Renegade, really, really sad about him. And Arn Anderson beat Hugh Morris in 40 seconds, which is 39 seconds longer than it should have taken to beat a guy like Hugh Morris. Then we have the opening with the Black Hills and the Bikers and Sturgis. Let me just say right now that if you're a motorcycle enthusiast, you probably enjoy Sturgis. I wouldn't want to be around there mainly because it doesn't appeal to me, but it is a great tourist boost for a town in Sturgis, or the town of Sturgis in South Dakota that I probably couldn't find on a fucking map if you paid me. Because I've seen enough, location shots to know that it is not a very big city, but hey, it's really cool they have a giant biker rally there. Maybe they can have, biker rallies there with people that are actually smart and aren't spraying a goddamn virus like last year. So, engines are roaring and so many redneck vehicles. Man, there were a bunch of husbands had their sisters popping out kids right there in the back of the van and the back of the truck and stuff like that. So Shivani, Heenan, and Dusty on commentary. Tenay joined commentary for a little bit. And Dusty just looked totally lost and sounded totally lost on commentary. Him and Heenan were just great going back and forth. Shivani was great here. They had a lot of fun banter. Rey Mysterio versus the Ultimo Dragon with Sonny Ono. I know he's called the Ultimate Dragon at this point, but I'm calling him Ultimo Dragon because Ultimate Dragon just doesn't quite sit right with me. WCW Cruiserweight Championship match. And if you fast forward a number of months later, okay, 3, because that would be a number. Technically, any number that even is 0 or -1 is a number. That's how numbers work. Fun with numbers. Or number crunchers, number munchers. Remember that game with the frogs? What am I even on about anymore? So if you flash forward, by the way, 3 months later, Ultimo Dragon is battling Rey Mysterio at World War III and would win the J Crown, thing where he would have all those championships. Like, the belt collector in Ultimo Dragon. It's like, laughs in 8 to 9 titles. Got to meet Ultimo about 2.5 years ago. Great fucking guy. Still moves well, and he's in his early 50s. So anyway, the pace is good, as you would expect. Mike, you don't need to speak Spanish in Mexico. If you have 35 pesos or $8, you can get everything you need there. Bobby Heenan on commentary, everybody. I miss Bobby Heenan. That's why I'm wearing this shirt. Great shirt from Pro Wrestling Tees, and, Bobby Heenan, my favorite commentator, my favorite manager of all time, broadcast journalist, just so fucking great. So fucking witty. He was fucking tremendous. So then commentary mentions how Liger is having a brain tumor removed, and Jushin Thunder Liger would come back and wrestle Rey Mysterio at Starrcade 96, 4 months later. And then Jushin Thunder Liger would retire at the beginning of last year, and not only would the New Japan Stream crash, and then everything would crash in the world. Liger was the glue that held the world together, and he knew it, and he said, okay, I'm bowing out, have fun, everybody. Don't think he said it like that, though. But it was really cool how Liger came back. Jushin Thunder Liger, my favorite high flyer of all time, one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. But anyway, back to this match. The ring was elevated, and it was a long way down to the dirt and everything, so naturally, Ray jumped, and I believe jumped all the way to another city, according to what Heenan said, because Heenan could always make stuff work like that. And yeah, I can imagine laying on dirt and everything was really goddamn comfortable for these guys that were getting guaranteed money and working through all this shit and everything. But it was what it was. It was kind of cool. Not really. It's just, I'm sure the Black Hills are beautiful. It was not a great idea to hold a wrestling event there. And there were actually some good matches here. Then there were just some dodgy finishes. So Ray does dive to the ground. Dragon kept not covering him while a helicopter kept flying overhead or whatever. No doubt to say, redneck, and related. So anyway, and I got plenty of redneck friends, by the way, so you know what? I feel perfectly okay saying this. And also we have a little redneck in all of us, especially when we're out in the sun too long. So anyway, we get a Hurricane 4-3. Ray retains the championship. Retains it! Haha, I missed a golden opportunity there. Mean Gene then plugs a hotline, which is no longer active. Oh, darn, I was going to call and get information about an event from 25 fucking years ago. The fact that they have to put that further proves that maybe there are some people that aren't very smart. And then Ice Train took on Scott Norton. Fire and ice explode. And it's messy for the elements all over the goddamn world. No, fire and ice not exploding like in The Last Airbender. M. Night Shyamalan should have been freaking chased out of the goddamn, country. He should have been chased off the goddamn planet for what he did to The Last Airbender. And I'm not even a fan of the cartoon. And he butchered the whole goddamn thing. Couldn't even get the name of the main character right. What the fuck? Anyway, the crowd liked seeing the white man beat down the black man, which is not shocking given the location. And armbar, Norton wins. And then Norton would lose via submission at the next pay-per-view, Fall Brawl 96, which I will also retro-review. I don't think I retro-reviewed that one, and if I have, I'm going to do it again, because I love that event. I don't think I have done it, though. So Flair, we do a video package on Flair talking about, hey, it's, between the NWO and WCW, this is two companies can't coexist. Found that out pretty goddamn quickly, because it basically was like two companies. It was the people getting the guaranteed money and all the control, and everybody else. No wonder WCW crumbled. So then we get a Hog Wild merch plug. $89.95 for that denim jacket with a graphic that was so goddamn hideous that my best friend, Chris, a.k.a. the Durbinator, could have designed a better logo in his sleep in 5 minutes. And it sounds like I'm not going to know. He's great with freaking Photoshop, and hopefully he will come back for some of the videos at some point. But whatever, he's my best friend first, co-host second. So that's Sonny Ono, the kamikaze signalist. An actual line from Bobby Heenan because he didn't give a fuck. So Medusa rides her bike to the ring. Medusa versus Bol Nakano, battle of the bikes. Whoever wins gets to bash their opponent's bike. Okay. Hey, as Medusa and Bol Nakano, I'm not going to complain about getting to see them at this point in their careers when they've had so many terrific matches before. USA chant, stay classy, Sturgis. They did what they could in 5 minutes. I think it was 5.5 minutes. We get we get a German suplex, and Medusa gets her shoulder up and then gets the victory. But Bol Nakano's like, haha, I'm going to go bash her bike. And then Sonny Ono takes the sledgehammer, and because they mistimed this, he hit the seat with the sledgehammer, and then Medusa got away from him and then bashed the fuck out of the bike and then ripped the panels apart and everything. And oh no, not the Honda, according to commentary. And then the Steiners are in biker gear on the Information Superhighway, powered by CompuServe. Whatever happened to CompuServe? So anyway, Benoit with Woman and Liz versus Dean Malenko. Okay, time for my weekly reminder or daily reminder, depending on what review I'm doing. That look, I admit and can still fully recognize that Chris Benoit is a tremendous wrestler. No, I can't objectively look at any of his. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't. I've seen this match. It's just so goddamn hard it's almost impossible to watch a Chris Benoit match, no matter who he's wrestling. And Dean Malenko, I love watching Dean Malenko wrestle, but it's just that they did a lot of freaking good shit. You can hear a woman screaming in the background or whatever, and that's when, I'm sorry, Nancy's a little tied up in the phone right now. Oh, this is going well. So, yeah, it was great wrestling. It really was. Liz looked fucking hot as hell. I mean, goddamn, Liz. Anyway, we get a time limit draw after 20 minutes. And then Woman says, Chris, you can go 5 more minutes and beat this shorter guy. He used that same mindset 11 years later with Daniel. I am a horrible human being that uses humor to mask the fact that I can't get through dark shit without using humor. So anyway, we get another draw after 5 minutes. And we're going to go to another 5-minute overtime. And the crowd boos. It's not that they aren't enjoying this match, but this is bullshit. Why didn't you just do a 30-minute time limit? Oh, right, because you wanted to do something like this. It ends when Dean Malenko, all this action, all this intense action, these big maneuvers and everything, the stuff outside, Woman screaming at ringside, Liz looking goddamn beautiful, but this intense action, everything, regardless of, putting aside and everything, the fact that Benoit's a fucking murderer, he deserves a rotten hell, and hopefully is burning in hell for what he fucking did, killing 2 innocent people. And it ends when Dean Malenko is distracted by Woman, kind of pushes over in the corner, and the most devastating maneuver in all of professional wrestling is the prize roll-up 1, 2, 3. It ends via roll-up, and 25 years later, we're having matches end via roll-up like every goddamn show, and I think I want a match via roll-up, and I've never wrestled, and I never will wrestle because I'm not athletic at all. Ended via roll-up. And Harlem Heat with Sister Sherry, good grief, Sherry, and Colonel Rob Parker against the Steiner Brothers. The crowd was less than nice and receptive to Harlem Heat. Not because they were the heels. Like, you can tell. I'm pretty certain that they may have added some stuff out, but you could tell. Booker and Stevie Ray have recounted this stuff, and you could tell that they were bothered by a lot of that crowd. Because there was something a little bit nerve-wracking about a bunch of bikers watching 2 black guys that were going to get the victory and everything, and it just wasn't working. It just wasn't working at all. There was a lot of engine revving. They love the Steiners. I mean, how could you not love the Steiners? And I love Steiners and Harlem Heat, 2 of my favorite tag teams of all time. There was so much engine revving. Good God. Good grief. The crowd boos Harlem Heat relentlessly. And not just because they were the heels. Because they would cheer Hogan. I mean, granted, Hogan, Harlem Heat. Hulk Hogan, good God. Booker's saying that and Sherry having to calm him down. It's okay, Booker. It's all right. Hogan's used that slur before. She didn't say that, but she might as well have. But be careful what you say on camera, brothers. It's another reason why I don't like Hogan. And Sherry gets involved, and we get rest holds. We get powder and a cane to the face. Oh, no. 1, 2, 3. And so much trash gets hurled at Harlem Heat. And I'm imagining a lot of verbal assaults. And my God, that crowd was pissed. They were pissed. They were really fucking mad. And they were like, oh, God damn it, the bad guy team won. No, they were like, God damn it, the black people won. They said it like that. This comes out of my paycheck. If I had a girlfriend, she'd kill me. So anyway, so we get Mongo and Pepe there, the dog that they had at the time, and I feel bad for Steve Mongo McMichael. battling ALS, I believe, is the name of the disease. It's just absolutely terrible. And all the WCW stars, they're riding their bikes through there. And then that was the story I told you about with Kevin Nash when he said that, and all the way to Sturgis. And Eddie Guerrero took on Ric Flair with Woman and Liz. Woman screaming more at ringside. Because apparently, they weren't back in Georgia. So moving on from that, U.S. Championship, good shit. A lot of like Flair's mid to later 90s, or at least the stuff after like he feuded with Hogan and everything. His 95 stuff, he had a great series of matches with Randy Savage, but a lot of his stuff kind of gets lost in the shuffle because of how, what they were doing, once they had the NWO come along. He had a pretty good U.S. Championship run. He would end up having a shoulder injury of some description. Shoulder rotator cuff is one of the two. But he would have, I'm just saying, like, whichever name it was, he would end up losing. Well, I think he would have to relinquish the U.S. Championship, but he had a pretty good run. He beat Conan for the Bash at the Beach 96. Just a month before. Well, about now, 31 days before. Moving on from that, enough stuff about numbers. So, good as expected. The chops were laid in. There was some good intensity. Flair kept stalling. He kept giving Eddie a lot. There was, the sun started to set, and the lights came back on, and Eddie got a figure 4 on. And then Eddie mocks Flair with the strut, and then Flair, his tights end up getting pulled down, and it's like, oh, it's a full moon out in Sturgis tonight. And then Flair ends up hitting a lariat after Eddie's selling a knee because it's been targeted and gets figure 4, and Woman helps him, and Eddie gets pinned. Oh no, Eddie gets pinned. But it was a good match, as you would expect between these two. Mean Gene interviews the Giant and Jimmy Hart about the main event. Jimmy says, you're not going to take the Giant down. And that was his first mistake. Outsiders, Hall and Nash versus Sting and Luger, who got pyro. A lot of pyro. My God, so much fucking pyro. And it was the usual. It was kind of playing off stuff that happened to Bash at the Beach 96 and would lead into what happened at Fall Brawl 96. One of my favorite WCW pay-per-views of all time. Nash spits at Sting, who retorts, and Sting gets targeted for a while. Hot tag to Luger. Scorpion by Sting on the outside. And then when Luger tries to pick up Hall in the rack, he ends up accidentally bumping into Nick Patrick, who's upset, and accidentally chop blocks Luger. And then fast count 1, 2, 3, because Nick Patrick is going to join the NWO and then leave the NWO, like, around this time in 97. Or somewhere around that. So, then, yeah, the Outsiders win, and that's really about it there. Then we have Michael Buffer, who was flown all the way down to Sturgis to do the introductions for this, which I'm sure was absolutely thrilling for fucking nobody. Nothing against Mr. Ready to, Mr. Ready to ... who's ready to do the Rumble thingy. But did anybody really need to see Michael Buffer do this in Sturgis? I mean, I didn't. But anyway, we got the Giant with Jimmy Hart versus Hulk Hogan, WCW title match, and to call this match terrible would be an understatement. It was not good. Mainly because Hogan was doing the same goddamn shit he'd always done, and commentary was still trying to push that the Giant was the son of Andre the Giant. We know he fucking wasn't, you goddamn idiots. Even without the internet, we could tell he wasn't his son. So anyway, we got rest holds. We got them doing the tests of strength and everything, and the stuff like Warrior and Hogan did at WrestleMania 6, only infinitely worse for about 50 fucking million years, which is about how old Hogan was at this point. And then arm focus, and the Giant does the Hulk up thing, and then Hall shows up, and he gets choke slammed, and then Nash tries to, he gets the briefcase, he gets the Money in the Bank briefcase years before it was invented. No, he gets the megaphone from Jimmy Hart, just steals it from him because big guy, small guy. Jimmy Hart also looks exactly the same now as he did back then. It's weird. And he tries forward. He ends up getting hit with a chokeslam. And then Hogan uses the title with one of the worst belt shots this side of Kenny Omega on Dynamite. And gets the pin 1, 2, 3. And then Brutus, or the Booty Man, but dressed in the NWO t-shirt and everything. Two guys show up with a cake for Hogan's birthday. It's his birthday. Why don't they give him a call? Oh, God. Happy Death Day. Great. I reminded myself of Happy Death Day. I'm going to have to take those thoughts out with a fucking spoon. Actually, that wasn't that bad of a movie. So, this is terrible. They put over the fact that, like, oh, they've been friends for so goddamn long. Brutus says 22 years. Hogan says 20 years. We never mix business with friendship or pleasure. Gross. It's the NWO. And then get him, boys. They beat up Beefcake and everything, repeatedly pounding him, and that's it. That's it right there. And then they spray paint the championship, and aha! That's it. Yeah, pretty weak main event, but you know what? pretty good action, just a lot of, bigotry and bullshit from the crowd. Anyway, agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.